Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me today because we are unpacking a concept that is radically shifting how we view aging, vitality, and our overall health span. We're talking about female biological sovereignty. Now, this isn't just some trendy wellness buzzword. It's a meticulously engineered medical approach to reclaiming your body's vitality. It's really about stepping out of the passenger seat of the aging process and finally taking the wheel. So think about it for a second. Is that general flatness, the chronic fatigue, the sudden thinning of your skin, or that loss of drive that so many women experience as they age? Is all of that truly inevitable? Or is it simply a biological systems error? You know, a glitch in your cellular software that we can actually patch with the precise modern tools we have available right now? Well, that's exactly the question we're answering today. Okay, let's dive into this. We aren't just speaking theoretically today, folks. We're grounding this explainer in the actual clinical blueprints of the BioNexus Master Protocol list. Specifically, we're zeroing in on Protocol number 10, Female Biological Sovereignty. This is a comprehensive, multi-layered approach that's designed to restore complete female hormonal architecture, protecting literally everything from your bone density and brain health all the way down to your cardiovascular system. To really understand this protocol, we're going to use an architectural approach. We'll be walking through 6 steps today. 1. Designing biological sovereignty. 2. The foundational hormone base. 3. Upgrading the reproductive axis. 4. Aesthetics and metabolic vitality. 5. Restoring drive and connection. And finally 6. Reclaiming your biological power. Just like building a skyscraper, we're going to construct this biological protocol layer by layer, right from the foundation up to the luxury features. Starting off with Section 1, Designing Biological Sovereignty, and Section 2, the Foundational Hormone Base. Let's start from the ground up, because before we can even think about adding those advanced targeted peptides, we absolutely have to restore the primary environment. That primary environment is your foundational hormone replacement therapy, or your HRT base. We're talking about the core 5 here: estradiol, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, and pregnenolone. Firing off these 5 core hormones is step 1. Why? Well, because these are the master regulators. They address the metabolic, neurological, and cardiovascular root causes of decline. You need this solid base to protect your brain, keep those bones dense, and maintain your cardiovascular elasticity. So the crucial point is this: you just cannot build a resilient biological skyscraper on a cracked hormonal foundation. I totally know how frustrating hormonal decline can be: the brain fog, the weight resistance, the sheer exhaustion. It's so important to validate that experience, but fixing it is paramount. This foundational layer must be set perfectly before we even think about introducing the advanced peptide network. Moving right along to Section 3, Upgrading the Reproductive Axis. With our bedrock solid, our focus shifts to restoring the rhythmic signaling of your biological system, basically the first floor of our biological pyramid. And this brings us to a really remarkable peptide called Kisspeptin-10. Think of Kisspeptin-10 as your master upstream switch. It works as a wildly potent stimulator of gonadotropin-releasing hormone, or GnRH. By triggering GnRH, it actually prompts your pituitary gland to release luteinizing hormone and follicle-stimulating hormone in natural, healthy pulses. It acts specifically to counter that heavy hormonal drag that happens with age or chronic stress, significantly improving your ovulatory function and natural signaling. Now, what's so beautiful about Kisspeptin-10 is that it doesn't just flood your system artificially. It actually provides the foundational fuel for your own baseline drive and optimizes your body's completely natural testosterone and estrogen production. It works 100% synergistically with that HRT base layer we just laid down, gently waking the system back up rather than overriding it entirely. Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 4, Aesthetics and Metabolic Vitality. This is the floor that handles the structural framework, what you actually see in the mirror: your skin, your hair, and metabolic fat loss. Look, when women hit their late 30s through their 50s, the frustrating reality of the mirror often kicks in. Skin loses its bounce, fine lines linger, and that visceral fat becomes incredibly stubborn. This is natural age-related decline, and it's driven by a constant low level of growth hormone and IGF-1. But contrast that with peptide optimization. By combining CJC1295, specifically the MOD-GRF1-29 version, with ipamorelin, we can actually restore those youthful, natural nighttime growth hormone pulses. We aren't flooding the body, we're just reminding it how to pulse naturally again.
The results are what we call structural skin upgrades. Because these peptides beautifully mimic your body's own natural rhythm, they gently restore growth hormone. This balanced elevation in IGF-1 directly stimulates your fibroblasts. Those are the little factories in your skin that pump out type I and type 3 collagen. The result? You get visceral fat loss for sure, but you also rebuild a firmer, plumper skin architecture. You regain that radiant skin without a constant, unnatural flood of synthetic hormones.
And to really lock in those aesthetic and structural gains, the protocol utilizes GHKCU. This is a very powerful copper-binding peptide, and honestly, it's the ultimate tissue protector. GHKCU literally acts as an anti-aging gene modulator. It affects over 4,000 human genes. It scavenges damaging free radicals, significantly accelerates healing, and acts as a master conductor for collagen synthesis and tissue repair across your entire body. Section 5. Restoring drive and connection. Now we arrive at the absolute top of our architectural pyramid. We're installing the luxury features here that restore the brain, relationships, and deep intimacy. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how deliberately these two compounds target the brain. We have PT141 and oxytocin. Together, they cover the complete spectrum of intimacy, and because they hit entirely different neurological targets, they don't compete with each other at all. They work hand in hand to cure that indifference or emotional flatness that can sometimes accompany aging or metabolic stress. Let's look at PT141 first, also known as bremelanotide. This is your central nervous system arousal switch. Unlike older treatments that just try to crank up local blood flow, PT141 directly hits the melanocortin receptors in the brain to rebuild raw desire and spontaneous physical arousal from the top down. It completely bypasses mere mechanics to reignite actual want and drive. A real game changer. But, as we all know, raw physical drive is really only half of the human equation. That's exactly where oxytocin comes in. Delivered nasally to hit the brain super fast, oxytocin targets the limbic system. It acts as the ultimate bonding molecule, rebuilding those deep cravings for love, trust, and emotional resonance. It provides the deep emotional payoff of intimacy that makes connections so fulfilling in the first place. Finally, Section 6, we're claiming your biological power. Let's bring all of these distinct architectural layers together so we can see exactly how this stack creates a unified, vibrant, and fully optimized female physiology. And this brilliantly illustrates the entire blueprint. Just look at how deliberately engineered this multi-compound medical protocol truly is. You start with the HRT foundation, then you add layer 1 to wake up the reproductive axis with Kisspeptin 10. You build layer 2 to upgrade metabolism and cellular youth using CJC 1295, ipamorelin, and GHKCU. And finally, layer 3 restores that vital human drive and emotional bonding through PT141 and oxytocin. It really is a masterpiece of biological engineering. I want to read this quote straight from our sources because it perfectly captures the ultimate goal here. You keep the metabolic wins and reclaim the full spectrum human experience, raw desire, deep bonds, and unapologetic joy. Women absolutely do not have to accept the zombie mode, the flatness, or the slow fade of age-related decline. You can absolutely reclaim the full spectrum. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. You guys are focused learners, and I know you appreciate cutting straight to the science of what actually works. We've walked through the mechanics, the peptides, and the foundational hormones. So I want to leave you with this final, inspiring question. Now that you have the architectural blueprint to true biological sovereignty, what are you going to build with your reclaimed power? Until next time, stay curious and stay optimized.